Do subscribe to the channel. Legalization of cannabis. The German government approved a draft law legalizing the purchase and possession of cannabis for recreational use, allowing adults to possess up to 25 grams of cannabis and grow up to 3 plants for personal use. About cannabis. Cannabis refers to a group of 3 plants with psychoactive properties, known as Cannabis sativa, Cannabis indica, and Cannabis ruderalis. Cannabis is made up of more than 120 components, which are known as cannabinoids. 2 of them are cannabidiol, CBD. This is a psychoactive cannabinoid, yet it is non-intoxicating and non-euphoric. It is often used to help reduce inflammation and pain. It may also ease nausea, migraine, seizures and anxiety. Tetrahydrocannabinol, THC. This is the main psychoactive compound in cannabis. THC is responsible for the high that most people associate with cannabis. Cannabis cultivation traces all the way up to 12,000 years ago, suggesting it was one of humanity's oldest cultivated crops. Traditional drink. Some scholars speculate that it may be the main ingredient of the ritual Vedic drink, Soma, mentioned in both the Rigveda and the Bhagavad Gita. 1961 Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs. It put down stringent controls for the manufacture and consumption of drugs including cannabis. Laws pertaining to cannabis in India. The center's law around cannabis in India can be found in the Narcotics, Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act of 1985, though there are various states that have their own laws around cannabis as well. The law prohibits and criminalizes the sale, possession, transportation, and cultivation of cannabis in certain forms in India. The NDPS Act, when it comes to cannabis, includes charas, which is the separated resin, in whatever form, whether crude or purified, obtained from the cannabis plant, and also includes concentrated preparation in resin known as hashish oil or liquid hashish. Ganja, the flowering or fruiting tops of the cannabis plant, excluding the seeds and leaves, were not accompanied by the tops. In addition, any mixture, with or without any neutral material, of any of the above forms of cannabis or any drink prepared therefrom. Notably, the Act specifically prohibits the sale and production of cannabis resin and flowers, while the use of seeds and leaves is allowed. Apart from the NDPS Act, states have the power to draft their own laws on cannabis. Section 10 of the NDPS Act allows states to permit and regulate the cultivation of any cannabis plant, production, manufacture, possession, transport, import interstate, export interstate, sale, purchase, consumption or use of cannabis, excluding charas. For example, Uttarakhand became the first state in India to allow commercial cultivation of hemp in 2018. Another state law is the Assam Ganja and Bham Prohibition Act, which outlaws the purchase, consumption and possession of ganja as well as bham. Arguments in favor of legalizing cannabis. Plant was most likely brought to India by Aryan migrants between 1000 and 2000 BC. It is treated as a sacred plant in the Vedas, considered a source of joy. The Hindu god Shiva is revered as the Lord of Bham. The central government stated that the present legal framework regulating the usage of cannabis did not violate Articles 14, Right to Equality, 19, 1, G, Freedom of Trade, 21, Right to Life or other fundamental rights guaranteed under the Constitution. The legalization of marijuana can help create jobs, battle stress, improve human concentration, resolve medical problems and provide sustainable agricultural incomes, among other things. Given India's production capacity of cannabis, the government stands to benefit in terms of tax. Arguments against legalization. Dependency disorders. The International Classification of Diseases, Diagnostic, and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders has classified cannabis as an addictive substance, capable of causing dependency disorders. While the supporters of marijuana claim that only 9% of marijuana users become clinically dependent on the substance, the opposers use the same figure to substantiate the existence of clinical dependency on the drug. Withdrawal symptoms. There is considerable emphasis on withdrawal symptoms of marijuana, which include irritability, sleeping issues and dysphoria. For the users who try to quit the consumption, only 71% of those succeed in quitting. Insufficient studies to claim benefits. The NDPS Act was a result of an elongated international pressure driven by the UN's Single Convention on Narcotic Drugs, 1961. There exists no statistical proof to verify the significance of cannabis over regularly available drugs. It is admitted that cannabis is effective in reducing pain, but it is less safe than approved opiates. Psychotic disorders. Marijuana users are at a greater risk of being diagnosed with chronic psychotic disorders including schizophrenia. Marijuana addicts often show impaired neural connectivity. The opposers argue that smoking marijuana increases the risk of bronchitis and pneumonia. Judicial pronouncements, judgments related to it. In Arjun Singh vs. the State of Haryana, the Chandigarh High Court observed that bhum is not cannabis, hemp, under the provisions given under NDPS Act, although it is a cannabis plant. Thus, it is not necessarily unlawful to eat cannabis. In 2019, the Delhi High Court agreed to listen to the petition made by the Great Legalization Movement India Trust that challenged the ban on cannabis, stating that the NDPS Act's restrictions are arbitrary, unscientific, and unreasonable.